All right, so in this lesson, we will be talking about robots. We will be talking about robots, and we will be delving deeper to demystify all the myths behind robots. Now, when you hear the word robot, most people think of robots as only physical, human-like devices that behave intelligently. Now, that's good. Then that's a typical example of robots. But that is what only certain aspects of robots that you are seeing. So we'll be talking about the overview, the general overview, and the introduction of robots. So if this sounds like something you are interested, make sure to stay to the end. All right. So let's talk about the definition and then the scope of a robot. So a robot is actually an automatically guided machine which is able to do tasks on its own, almost always due to electronically programmed instructions. A robot is an electronically guided machine which is able to what? Do tasks on its own, always because there is what? An electronically programmed instructions. Now, looking at this definition or this explanation, we can see the word automatic. So a robot automatically does things on its own, and then it doesn't just wake up or is there and then it will be doing the things. No, it is guided, meaning it is controlled. Most robots are controlled with servers, others with remote controls, and then they are built by humans. They are built by engineers, and then they program it internally and then electronically. They give the robot instructions, internal instructions that when the robot follows, it can achieve certain results. All right. So in moving on, another common characteristic is that by its appearance or movement, a robot often conveys a sense that it has intent or agency of its own. Now, one of the characteristics that will help you to spot a robot very easily is that a robot by the appearance or the movement of the robot, it does what it conveys a sense. It conveys a sense that it has intent or agency of its own, just by the common characteristic and then its appearance. It so when you see a robot in action or a robot in motion, there are certain characteristics or there are certain actions or certain behaviors which the robot does, which conveys a sense that that robot has a sense or intent of its own, or it have an agency, it have its built-in purpose, the speciality of a robot. And that's one thing that you must never forget, that robots are specialities. Like, they are special, they do things, they do specific things. All right. So here is the interesting part, the types of robots. So the word robot can actually refer to both physical robots and virtual software agent. We have to take note of this. That the word robot can refer to both physical robots and what virtual software agent, which is also called bots. And I hope you have heard of bots, or you have come across bots before. So bots, you can see that they are internally programmed, and most of the time they are mostly found um, at 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 Telegram. But you can also create a web app and add a bot to it, which is a robot which functions as a robot. But most people doesn't know that bots are actually robots. So for instance, there's a bot in WhatsApp that you can add it to your group, and then once you add it to your group, you give it instructions. Now those instructions are the coding that we've been doing. So once you meet them, you give them instructions. So it is based on these instructions. All right. It's based on these instructions that the bot is going to what? To function. That's why our definition what includes electronically programmed what? Instructions. Electronically programmed instructions. So the word robots. So these bots, they can even remove people from the group. Like you can set up a Telegram group and add a bot to it, and you program it that that bot should remove anyone who sent any link into the group. They should make requests of only books and then music. They should never send books into the music into the group. Once a person violates that rule, the bot automatically remove that person from the bot. That's why we are saying that a robot is automatically not guided machine that is able to do tasks on its own. All right. So let's talk about the classifications of robots. So sorry, I'm very sorry for the listen. Classification of robots or classifying robots. So one may ask himself or herself a question. What are the criteria of classifying robots? What's the criteria? All right. So there is no consensus on which machines qualify as robots, but there is a general among experts and the public that robots tend to do all of the following. So there is nothing like International Association Board of Robots that have give a specific definition to robots. That's why we are saying that there is no consensus on what machines which qualify as robots. But once you see these characteristics that I'm about to mention, then you are face to face with a robot. All right. So the first characteristic is the ability to move around. Now, most robots don't move around, so we have to take time for ourselves and move our tops. Um, so a robot what move around. So once you see a device which is able to move around, then you can say it's a robot. Now, a robot operates a mechanical limb. A robot what operates a mechanical limb. So what does this mean even unto us? So this means that most robots, so we know the limbs. These are the four hands and legs of a department, college, university, school, anyone, alumni as a whole. But this year, but robots operate what a mechanical hot limb. All right. One thing that you have to also know is that they have a sense and manipulate their environment. So during the program, robots have sense, so they can sense their environment. They can detect changes in their environment and then adjust or release certain behaviors. Now you have to know that these are planting. These are planting. We can't just wake up and then be doing this. No, we have to practice it. All right. So they have a sense. One thing is that they have a sense and manipulate the environment. Okay. The last one is that they exhibit intelligent behaviors. Robots what exhibit intelligent behavior. This is very important, especially behavior which mimics humans or other humans. So this is where most Christians are stuck about. So there's no consensus on which machines qualify as robots, but there is what general agreement among experts and all the public that robots tend to do the following. So moving around, operating a mechanical limb, sensing and manipulating the environment, and exhibiting what intelligent behavior. God bless you. And then we shall meet in another video. Bye bye.